Preparing to live stream the webinar.
All right, I just had to give permission to be live streamed. That's a positive.
And looks like we might still be in a practice session, which is awesome. But I would still.
And it is confirmed that Nancy does have a link in her calendar.
All right, and looks like we are all live. Our audio is transmitting. I just got the, I can see it.
All right, well, do you want to go ahead and officially start the webinar so we can have people start joining since we're anticipating so many?
Sure thing. If everyone else is ready, I can hit the button.
Give me 1 sec to share my screen.
We're a minute early, but we'll get started.
Are you seeing the first slide?
No.
Showing in the incorrect view.
Let me swap it. Better?
Nope.
Nope.
You're in the view that shows the slides next to the slide. You need to put it on slideshow.
So stop screen sharing, start presenting the slides, tab back into Zoom, and then share the one that's labeled PowerPoint presentation.
Perfect.
There we go.
All right. In that case, I shall go ahead and open the webinar.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Department of Developmental Services webinar for direct support professionals on the direct service professional training stipend. We'll get started with the webinar here in just a couple of seconds so that we can allow the rest of the participants to join us on the Zoom platform. So give us just a minute, and thank you for joining us today. It looks like we have reached max capacity on the Zoom platform, and it should be pointing folks over to the live YouTube feed as well. So I just wanted to say thank you so much, first of all, for the professional work that you all do in supporting folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And I'm so happy and honored, really, that you took some time out of your day today to join us at the department to walk through the direct service professional training stipend webinar. My name is Vicki Smith. I'm the Deputy Director for our Policy and Program Development Division here at the department. And all of our workforce initiatives are actually within my sphere of leadership. We do have several initiatives actually that are all intended to help recruit, train, and retain our professionals that support our individuals that are served through the regional center system. So I just wanted to again say thank you so much for everything that you do and the professional work that you always deliver it with, and for carving out your time to join us for the webinar today. I am going to turn it over to Jennifer, who is going to walk us through some housekeeping of which buttons on the Zoom are for your use and what they do. And then she will probably turn it back over to me. So Jennifer, it's all yours.
Thank you, Vicki. Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Freed. I am a part of the community engagement team here at Department of Developmental Services. I have a few things to note before we get started. We are offering Spanish interpretation today, so I'm going to turn it over to Mark to give instructions on how to access the Spanish channel.
Thank you, Jennifer. Sí, daremos algunas instrucciones para aquellos que nos acompañan en español para saber cómo acceder al canal. En la parte inferior de su pantalla en Zoom aparecerá en breve aquí un icono con un globo que dice Interpretation o interpretación. Selecciónelo cuando aparezca y luego seleccione su idioma Spanish o español. Y de ahí podrá escuchar el programa enteramente en su idioma. And for those listening in English, please note we do have interpretation services being offered for today's session. To listen to any comments or questions that happen to be given in Spanish, you can do the same. Please select the globe icon at the bottom of your screen that says interpretation, then select your language English, and you'll then be able to hear a live rendering of that comment into English. Thank you, Jennifer. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Mark. Starting interpretation now. We are also offering ASL interpretation for today's meeting. The interpreters have been spotlighted, so their video will always be displayed on screen for everyone. Can we go to next slide, please? Just a reminder that your controls for today's meetings are available on the Zoom toolbar at the bottom of your screen. Once we're at the end of the presentation, you can use the Q&A to type any questions you might have. And finally, if you have any questions after the presentation, please contact your regional center. Thank you for being here with us today. With that, I'll hand it back to Nancy. Are you ready?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Oh, excellent. Good afternoon. I had to see what time of day it is. It is the afternoon. I just want to say welcome. I am Nancy Bargeman. I'm the director of the Department of Developmental Services. I really wanted to be able to take this opportunity to echo what I had heard Vicki share about the appreciation. I in between presentations, and so I'm not going to be able to listen to all of the training and overview today, but and I'm sitting in my car, but this is just really important to me. The training and the stipends is an opportunity for us to give recognition and a thank you to those who work very hard every day. And again, I just want to extend our appreciation, and I'm very pleased that we have this opportunity and this program that's going to be able to not only provide training, but to give some recognition in a payment stipend to you. You're going to learn all about that. This is an opportunity that I'm going to ask that you tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. The legislature and this administration has really recognized. The governor had a direct service professional recognition week last week because of the value and the importance of everything you do every day. And I know those who you support and their families are eternally grateful. I started my career as a direct service professional and recognize the responsibility and the value of everything that you do. So again, I just want to say thank you. Please use this as an opportunity to share with others, also to use it as an opportunity to be able to take this to your provider and to others to be able to extend this appreciation. So I think the most important information is going to be shared after I speak. So I'm going to end there. And we have a lot of people who signed up. It's a level of interest. I'm thrilled to see the level of interest. We have more workforce initiatives that are going to be rolling out. So I hope this is an opportunity for you to try something and then take an opportunity in the future to be able to have additional training opportunities that we're really excited about the investment in all of you, because you invest in supporting others every single day. And so thank you for that. And we look forward to your feedback. So if we have future trainings, to be able to enhance what we have. So have a great meeting today. You're in good hands. Vicki and her team have just done a phenomenal job in making this happen. And I'm going to hand it back to Vicki to be able to share information about this incredible opportunity. So again, thank you and have a great training.
Great. And thank you so much, Nancy, for being able to join. I know you're in between meetings and keynotes, and so I appreciate you jumping on. I know that the DSPs do as well. And please drive safely to your next stop. So again, thank you all for joining. I know that we are at max capacity. It is rolling over to streaming live on our YouTube channel. I should start by saying too is that these informational webinars, they truly are just for information purposes. Folks do not need to attend to be able to participate in the program. Although it's helpful, I think, if folks watch them so that they make sure that they do meet the eligibility to participate and kind of get some of the information before they get started in it. So I want to put that out there because as you spread the news among your colleagues, and if there's providers on the line, providers across providers, it's just a wonderful opportunity. And we really do want people to take full advantage of this. It is one of the first initiatives that we're launching out of our workforce initiatives. And we'll provide the link to our workforce initiatives page on the Department of Developmental Services website, because that's where they're all listed, and updates to those will be posted there as well. So you can, that is a page for you. It's a page for you to access for resources, trainings, and information about other projects that are coming your way that involve pay differentials. So you will be interested in those for sure. With that, let's get started so that we can get to your questions. The Q&A function actually is currently disabled, but have no fear. We are going to take a live question and answer. At the end, we will open it up. You'll be able to put your questions in. I always let people know if you see a question that looks similar to one that you also have, rather than retyping it. There'll be a little thumbs up. You can always hit the thumbs up on it. It then makes the most popular question at the top down. And so when we field those out for live answers, it lets us know what's your most popular question. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about the purpose and the summary of the DSP training stipend program, how you meet the eligibility, what that process looks like. We'll get to some of the FAQs, the frequently asked questions that we've been fielding so far, and some of them that we kind of anticipated. And then we want to open up the Q&A to get any other questions that you might have. Now, I will say a little bit of a caveat here. We may not always have the answer to your question. Sometimes your question is really nuanced. It's really specific to a situation or your type of work or what you're performing. But have no fear, we will take that question, and if we can't answer it today, we'll get an answer. We'll add it to our frequently asked questions and make sure that it gets posted on that workforce initiatives page for you to be able to continuously check back on. So with that, we'll move to the next slide, please. And it should just be an introductory slide, similar to what you just saw. And so next slide, please. We'll talk a little bit about what the purpose is of the program. There's a couple of purposes of us really launching this program for you all as the DSP training stipends. And one is really to enhance the quality of the services that are received by the folks that are served through the regional centers. The second one is really to improve retention. When we stood up a lot of the workforce initiatives, every single one of them in that team is focused on recruiting, training, and retaining professionals that support our folks. And so this is one of those initiatives that really kind of supports the training and retention. But I also think it might be something that if folks weren't yet serving in our industry, that they may look and say, hey, you know, they've got training available, they're issuing stipends with it. And so it may actually help us also recruit some folks into the field that maybe we just haven't tapped before. We also wanted to make sure that we were infusing with you and meeting interests that are for you about what you would like to develop skills in and continuous learning. And so as we talk about the training programs, at the end of each of the videos, there's a set of questions, and it's really not to test the competency of the material necessarily, but it's really for us to be able to have you think, you know, based on what I saw, you know, how might I incorporate it? but also to be able to share directly with the department, what are those topics that you all may struggle with, or what can we do to kind of help you feel more comfortable, or to create environments where you even have colleagues being able to talk to colleagues about maybe avenues that they took, or the way that they approach situations. So part of the training stipend program really was to try to get that feedback on the interest that you all have in developing that continuous learning pathway for you as well. So next slide, please. So what is it, Vicki? Get to the point, right? Direct support professionals will have the opportunity to earn up to 2 $625 stipends. Now that's before taxes, and that's because most of the time when taxes are taken out of that, it should land you somewhere right around the 500 mark. And those are provided and paid out within 90 days of you completing these approved training courses. I'll talk a little bit about more, how do you find out which courses are approved training courses? How do you know which are not approved training courses, so that you make sure that you're taking the right courses first, right? Because you may want to take the other ones, but you definitely want to make sure that you take the ones that are approved so that you can actually receive those stipends. So the training stipend program runs through June 30th of 2024. What does that mean? It just means that you have to have all the courses completed by that date. So again, making sure that you get the coursework completed by the end of June. Now, one of the questions that comes up, and we didn't really think about, is folks are asking, well, is there a cost to join the program? There's no cost to join the program. There's no cost to register on the platform that has the online training. There's also no cost for any of the classes. This really is the department's way of trying to help infuse that learning opportunity for you, and to also allow you to earn stipends for the great work that you do, and to provide the input back to the department on what you want to learn more about. So just make sure that for you and your colleagues that you share this with, that just know that the coursework, the 2 courses need to be completed by June 30th. You're ahead of the game because we're only in September, but before you know it, June will be here. So we just want to let people know ahead of time. So next slide, please. So eligibility, and next slide, please. Let's talk a little bit about eligibility. So how do I qualify? We have to also remember, especially people like me that are getting a little older and have been working in the field for quite some time. We used to only call DSPs direct support professionals, and it used to only reference really those individuals that received the certification, the DSP 1 and the DSP 2, the 35 hours and 35 hours, and they work in residential settings, right? Level 2, 3s, and 4s. But the term DSP direct service professional is actually much broader. And this particular initiative, as all of our initiatives actually at the department, are for direct service professionals that serve in several industries. So these programs aren't just for folks that work in residential settings. They're actually for anyone that provides direct support to an individual that's served through the regional center. So what does that really mean? Well, the standard for eligibility for this particular program is that a DSP is a paid individual who works on average 10 hours or more per week. We set that standard because sometimes you're going to be, you may have a break, actually. You may get vacation every now and then, right? And so your weeks may vary. You may be off a week, but you may be working more hours the next week. So you should be, so to be eligible for this program, you have to be a paid direct service professional that works on average more than 10 hours per week. The second criteria is that you have to perform direct support tasks for individuals that are served by the regional center. And what is direct support task, right? So direct support tasks can include things like skills development, guidance, or personal assistance. So they're pretty broad, right? But they're direct because they're with the individual that you're serving. The third criteria is that you have to spend at least 50% of your time doing those particular tasks as a direct support professional. And then you need to be employed by a regional center vendor or a participant in the self-determination program. So those are the eligibility. So sometimes frontline supervisors may actually be eligible, right? Because if they spend more than 50% of their time also performing these tasks, then they would qualify for the program as well. And again, it also includes some clinical staff, right? Some therapists, nurses, social workers, or psychologists, or behavioral specialists that also meet these other criteria, that they're performing those direct support tasks at least 50% of their time with the individual. So that's the eligibility criteria to qualify for the program. But with eligibility, right, there's also things that don't qualify. And so next slide, please, and we'll go over those. So elements that make somebody that not qualify, right? If you are a staff that's paid through a funding source other than the regional center, such as Medi-Cal or health insurance or a school district, with the exception of folks that are serving as a direct support professional that work in our ICF DDs, ICF DDNs, and DDHs. So if you work in an intermediate care facility, even though it's funded through Medi-Cal, you are still qualified if that ICF is vendored with the regional center, because then we know it exclusively serves folks with developmental disabilities. But if you are only providing direct support through, say, in-home support services and not providing it through any regional center funded service, then you would not qualify. The second item is those who are only providing intermittent services, such as home modifications or meal delivery services, would not qualify for this particular program, or staff that are hired through a temporary personnel agency, or contract workers, folks that receive 1099s, because then they're not actually employees, right? They're actually a contractor if you receive a 1099. Neither do on-call workers or PRN workers or volunteers, because it's a paid DSP that qualifies for this particular program. Administrative or supervisory staff don't typically qualify. However, many of those individuals do spend more than 50% of their time doing that direct support work. And in that case, they would qualify to participate in the program. So that's the eligibility criteria to participate in the program. Next slide, please. And we can advance one more slide and we'll start talking about what does the process look like and how do I start getting access to these courses so that I can get my $625 stipend, Vicki. We are very grateful that the Association of Regional Center Agencies, who most of the all of the regional centers belong to, they had already a learning management system platform. And some of you may be familiar with that because as DSPs or if there's providers online, you may have actually participated in taking courses through that platform. They were gracious enough to allow us to use their learning management system platform to put our courses on for you to be able to take. So ARCA has offered us that platform, and you will see for the link that you will be going on to, you'll see actually the ARCA Learn name in that link. So next slide, please. Okay, so how do I get started? First of all, they tell me that if you use Google Chrome as your browser, that the system will function a lot better. It does function with other browsers, but it's at optimal performance if you're using Google Chrome. So if you don't have Google Chrome, you might want to think about it in order to start the registration process. Now, there's two things that are super, super important because without them, you will not be able to complete registration. So if I was a DSP, I wouldn't even start until I had these two things, because you're going to get in there and then you're going to be you're going to be frustrated and say, well, I can't even complete the registration because I don't have these two items. And they're pretty simple to get. Whoever is the one that's issuing your paycheck is the vendor provider that you're going to want to find out what vendor number are they wanting you to use to participate in this program. So what vendor number are they wanting to use? Some providers have several vendor numbers, right? So it's really important to ask them, which vendor number are you wanting me to use when I register on this platform? The second thing is to ask them is what regional center is that vendor number associated with? Because when you register as the DSP to take these courses on the platform, it will ask you, what is your employer's vendor number and which regional center is it affiliated with? Without those two pieces of information, you will not be able to complete the registration process. Okay, so what's the vendor number you want me to use and what's the regional center that that vendor number is associated with? The courses that are approved by the department are only available through this website. And I want to make sure that y'all know that, because what I would hate to see happen is if you went out and you took these other courses thinking that they were department approved courses and you submitted those only to find out, hey, how come I'm not getting paid? The platform and where the courses are is a direct link to how the invoicing and the payment process will work. So it's really important that the courses that you're taking for this particular program, that you go through this platform to be able to access them. And the link is at the bottom of this slide. And I believe they dropped the PowerPoint also into the chat so that you can go on and use the links also to get directly there. You have to type it just like this. It's my understanding if you try to Google ARCA Learn or if you try to Google ARCA and you go in through some other pathway, you're not going to be taken into the pathway that has the DDS approved courses for this particular stipend program. So I'll read the link just in case folks can't see it. It's https:// the word provider dot ARCALearn ARCALEARN.org. Again, the website that you have to access the registration process through is https:// provider PROVIDER dot ARCALearn ARCALEARN.org. That's the link that you want to use to start the process for registering to access the department approved courses that are linked to the $625 stipends. So next page, please. When you get into the ARCALearn platform, it's actually a very user-friendly platform. You'll see this video that's there. This is a tutorial video. This video will help you walk through that registration process if for some reason you get in there and you're not sure what to do. Please make sure that you watch the video before you ever hit the button that is asking for help. Because most of the times in the tutorial video, it will answer the very question that you're actually trying to get the answer to. So at the bottom of the page, there's the play tutorial button. It's in the bottom left on this particular slide. Just click on it and it will start playing the video for you. So again, it's about a 2-minute video. You'll end up putting in your email, you'll establish a password, you'll get registered for the platform. Right? There's going to be several things you're going to hear from me today. You're going to say, like, Vicki, why are you saying this so many times? But you need the vendor number, the regional center that vendor is associated with, and you need the 10 hours on average a week. So make sure that you're getting your kind of ducks in the row so that when you go to register, everything runs really smoothly for you. So next slide, please. Well, once you get registered on the ARCALearn platform and you complete the approved courses, at the very end, like I said, each course is just shy of an hour long. It's right about an hour long. You can come back and into it at any time you want. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on a tablet, however you want to access it. You complete the course. At the very end of that course, there'll be some questions. And again, it's to provide the department back information on other topics that you might be interested in. Once you finish the course, it will produce a certificate of completion. That certificate of completion will go to the email address that you used to register with, right? It will, you will then keep that certificate of completion. So let me talk a little bit about how this last step works, because DSP should be paid within 90 days, within 3 months of your completion of the course. So this is how the system works. And I'm only going to share this with you because so that you have an understanding of the process that it goes through in order to get you the payment. Every Monday, the system generates reports by vendor number, and you as DSPs that are associated to those vendor numbers, and it sends it out to each regional center. And that's why we need the vendor number and the regional center, because otherwise we wouldn't know where to send the reports to set up invoices. The regional centers will sort those reports. They set up the invoice for your employer, right? Those invoices get sent out to the employer. The employer looks and says, is this my employee? Were they employed by me at the time that they took the course? And they sign off on it and they send it back to the regional center as a completed invoice. And it's from that the regional center is able to issue the payment out. We do require that the provider actually that once the provider sends that back to the regional center, verifying that, yes, this is my employee. Yes, they did work for me during this time period. That when the regional center receives that back to issue the payment, that they do that within 30 days. And that's to try to help keep us on target to make sure that you're getting your payment within the 90 days of completion of your course. So the last step here is the employer, your employer, will issue the payment not later than 3 months after you conclude the training. Now, one of the questions that comes up here, by the way, is, well, what if I work for 2 different providers? Am I eligible for both? The answer is no. DSPs are eligible for a maximum of 2 training stipends. So when you register, my suggestion would be that you register using the vendor number for the vendor that you work the most with, right? And get that vendor number so that we can ensure that you're getting the payment through the right vendor, through the right regional center, okay? So maximum of 2 stipends, regardless of how many providers you work for. So you're registering only with 1 vendor, okay? So next slide, please. So what are these courses that you keep talking about? We currently have 3 courses that are loaded on the platform. The first course, and all 3 of these are currently the department approved courses. So these are the courses that you want to focus on in order to get that $625 stipend. The first course is called the Code of Ethics, and it was developed for the department specifically for this program for you by the National Alliance for Direct Support Professionals, NADSP. Many of you are very familiar with who they are. They're a great organization representing direct support professionals. They developed this video for us, for you, based on their code of ethics. This course is a required course. So this course must be taken first. If you only take 1 course for the training stipends, it would be this course, because this one is required to take first before any other course, okay? And you can, by the way, this is voluntary for you. So if you only want to take 1 course and only receive one $625 stipend, that's your prerogative. If you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. If you want to receive both of them, you would want to select from one of the 2 courses that are offered at this moment. So the second video that's offered, the second training course, is called Informed Decision Making. It's also a video that was created exclusively for the department by the National Alliance for Direct Support Professionals. So that is an option for your second course. And then the other option for your second course is Person-Centered Supports, Direct Support Professionals, and the Home and Community-Based Services Final Rule. It was also a video that was created in collaboration with the National Alliance for Direct Support Professional. So right now, these are, excuse me, the 3 department approved courses for the $625 stipend. We do anticipate that we will be adding more courses somewhere along the way. So that web page that I talked about, that's really your web page. It's called the Workforce Initiatives page. And if you're on the Department of Developmental Services web page, there's a button at the top that says Initiatives. If you click that, you'll see a box that says Workforce Initiatives. When you click on that, it will take you to your page that has all the different workforce initiatives that we're putting together here at the department. Underneath the tab, it's about halfway down, that says DSP training stipend program. It also will list there the department approved courses. So if you're ever wanting to check back, or you've got some colleagues that maybe join it a little bit later, they may want to look on there and see, has the department added other courses as well as that optional second course? The Code of Ethics will always be the required first course. Okay, so those are the department approved courses that are on the platform at this moment. And next slide, please. And this will be a huge bonus for those of you that may work in a community care licensed setting, because these courses for the training stipend program also qualify for continuing education units for community care licensing. That's right. They also provide CEUs for community care licensing. So for those of you that may work in those settings that are licensed by CCL, or providers that are on the line that have settings that are licensed by CCL, this training program will also issue the CEUs that are eligible for CCL. So we think that's a huge bonus as well. Next slide, please. So a question comes up, and this is a great question, is can the direct support professional take the training courses during work hours? The answer is absolutely. However, please check with your employer first. When the regional center issues payment to your employer to be able to pay you the $625 stipend, they also issue a $150 payment for each of those $625 stipends to your employer. And the reason for that is to be able to pay the payroll taxes that they have to pay on their side for your earnings, but also for them to be able to potentially backfill your time to pay you to take it while you're on the clock. So that $150 can be used for that purpose by your employer, but please check with your employer first to make sure that it's okay for you to take these courses during working hours. So next slide, please. Okay, so a few reminders as we walk through some of the stuff we just went through. Number one, the DSP training stipend program is time limited, which means that all courses must be completed by June 30th of 2024. We know that payments may extend a little bit beyond that, right? Because if somebody takes it on June 29th, 2024, it may be that they have to be paid within 90 days, so it may exceed that time, but your courses must be completed by that date. Second reminder, the DDS approved courses are offered online only at that website, right? The provider.arcalearn.org. So don't Google because I don't want it to take you to the wrong place and then you're going to get frustrated. Write down the website address. It's in the PowerPoint. This webinar will be posted on that Workforce Initiatives page for you within a couple of days. Give us a couple of days to get it posted. And the link, you can get it out of there in case you didn't catch it as we went through the webinar today. You must register for the ArcAlearn in order to access the courses for the training stipend program. And remember, what are those two things you need? Your employer's vendor number and which regional center they're affiliated with. Required because, again, they generate the process for getting an invoice to your employer, getting it sent back so that they can get payment from the regional center and get the payment to you as the direct support professional. Okay, so next slide, please. We'll go through a couple of frequently asked questions here, and you can move to the next slide as well. So some of the questions that we've gotten already is, if I'm a direct service professional and I took part in the California Department of Social Services In-Home Support Services Career Pathways Program, or the IHSS Career Pathways Program, or if I took part in the California Department of Aging CalGROWS program, am I still eligible to participate in the DSP training stipend program? The answer is yes. Just because you participated in one of those two programs doesn't preclude you from being eligible to participate in the DDS training stipend program, as long as you meet the eligibility, right? That you work more than, on average, 10 hours of paid work per week, per month, that more than 50% of your time is doing those direct support tasks, and that you're working for a regional center vendor or for someone who is a participant in the self-determination program, okay? So take advantage of those programs too if you haven't already. Question two, if I'm a direct service professional at an intermediate care facility that serves individuals with developmental disabilities and it's vendored with a regional center, am I eligible for the DSP training stipend program? The answer is yes. As long as you meet that criteria. Again, the 10 hours on average or more per week, more than 50% of your time is doing those direct support tasks, and that you're working with folks that are served through the regional center, or You wouldn't be working with a participant in self-determination because that's not in ICFs. So as long as you meet those eligibility criteria, if you're a DSP in an intermediate care facility, DD, DDH, or DDN, you're still qualified. Question number 3, how will I get the training stipend if I work for more than one vendor at the same time? Remember what I told you a little bit earlier, right? Is that if you work for 2 or more providers, right? And that is very common. If you do, I would recommend that you use the vendor number for the vendor that you provide the majority of your time with. If you're split evenly between the 2, then pick which one's the best for you. But you can only receive 2 stipends at the most. Most of you will receive it through that same employer because you're most likely going to take the trainings close in time to one another, and you're not going to be switching employers. So you register with one of your employers with their vendor number, their affiliated regional center. Question 4, I work for a transportation provider that is vendored with the regional center. Am I eligible for the training stipend program? The answer is yes, so long as you meet the eligibility criteria that we went over. The more than on average 10 hours a week, more than 50% of your time is doing those direct support tasks. And this is a question we're getting more, and it's totally understandable because remember that in the old days, direct support professionals were folks that were just serving residential. So we kind of have to change our mindset a little bit about who's eligible, right? And so it's anyone that's providing the direct support more than 50% of the time and working more than those 10 hours a week. So yes, as a transportation provider. The second question we get the most is, what if I work at a day program? It's the same answer. If you meet the eligibility criteria, you're eligible for the program. Question 5. I'm a DSP for a self-determination participant. Am I eligible for the training stipend program? The answer is yes. So for some, this goes back to the easiest way to think about this is whoever signs your paycheck, whoever issues you your paycheck, that's the vendor number that you're going to want to use when you register. So for some folks, they're working for a vendor who also serves people in traditional programs, but they're working through that vendor to support somebody in self-determination. You're going to want to use that vendor because they're the ones that issue the paychecks. But for some direct service professionals, you may be supporting a participant directly in self-determination. And in that case, your employer and your paycheck is issued by the financial management services. So you're going to want to use the vendor number for the financial management services and the regional center that FMS is affiliated with. This does not affect a person's self-determination budget. You do not need to adjust your budget to be able to have your DSPs participate in this program. It's a payment that goes through the FMS to you. Question number 6. I'm a DSP for an individual receiving regional center services through participant-directed supports. Am I eligible for the training stipend? The answer is yes. If you meet those eligibility criteria, the on average more than 10 hours per week, more than 50% of your time doing those direct supports, and working for a regional center vendor or an individual participant in self-determination, then you're eligible. So folks that are serving folks through participant-directed services, as long as you meet that eligibility, you're eligible. And in your case, again, your paycheck is likely issued by the financial management services, and that's the vendor number you're going to want to use and the regional center that FMS is affiliated with. Okay, so next slide, please. We'll leave this up for a little bit so that all you folks that are much more tech savvy than me, if you want to point your camera at this QR code, it will actually load in the website for the workforce initiatives. So feel free to take that. It'll be in the PowerPoint that's linked there, so you can always send it to your friends, or if you take a picture and send it to them, and they might be able to access the program through that page as well, where this training will be posted and the PowerPoint that's going with it. It is, again, for all direct support professionals that meet the eligibility requirements, including clinical staff or DSPs that work in ICF. So please, 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 as Nancy said, spread the word. If you tell one person and then they tell one person and one person, we can get the word out better to be able to reach all of you who support our individuals. So next slide, please. That is the link. I will not read it, but it's a rather long link to get to our workforce initiatives page. But again, if you're on the DDS web page, up at the top, there's about 5 buttons, one of which says initiatives. It will take you to the larger initiative page, and on that page, you'll see a box for workforce initiatives. It will take you then to what we consider your page. It's a page that we're setting up specifically for you as DSPs to be able to access resources and other initiatives that we'll be doing. So with that, the next slide is getting to our Q&A. So do we have anything in the Q&A or other questions that folks might have? And as they open up the Q&A, remember, if you see a question in there that looks like something that you want to ask too, rather than retyping it in, feel free to hit that thumbs up symbol, and it will put them then in rank order for us so that the most popular question is at the top. So any questions that we can field out of the Q&A?
Vicki, this is Taryn, and I would like to demonstrate how to access department approved courses on the ArcaLearn platform, if that's okay.
Sure.
If I can screen share. So once you sign in to ArcaLearn, you have to create an account, you log in. Once you sign in, can you see the screen that says Arca on the upper left?
We can.
Terrific. So once you log in, you're going to see this screen. There's some choices as a user. You can browse the catalog, learning activities, transcripts. And here on the very far right is the DSP training stipend program. You can also access those courses here at the top where it says Department of Developmental Services DSP training stipend program. Follow this link and there will be a welcome video that you've already met our director. She has another nice message for the folks who are taking courses. And from this page, you will be able to see and select from the courses that are department approved. So just want to clarify that there's other courses available, but this is the section that you want to select to get to the department's approved courses.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Taryn.
You bet.
And Vicki, we have a lot of questions on the YouTube stream regarding today's meeting. Some people were under the impression that this was the training where you get the stipend. So if you could just reiterate that. And then a lot of questions about how the payment works and like
Sure.
the mechanism for getting the payment.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Amy. So this is the informational webinar to be able to walk you through the process to register and about the program itself. Again, it is not required for somebody to participate. So if you have a colleague or somebody that you work with or other staff or providers that you know that want to get the word to folks, just let them know. It'll be posted on our website, but this webinar is actually for informational purposes about the program and how to access the platform. The other question is about the payment process. And this should be quite invisible to you, but I want to tell you what it is so that you understand what should be happening kind of within that 90 days of you receiving payment once you complete the course. When you go onto the learning management system, it's an electronic based system, right? It's an online system and it keeps track of your transcripts. It keeps track of all the courses that you take. You can reprint, I think, certificates of completion from there. Every Monday morning, the whole system generates a very large Excel file. Those get pushed out, those reports get pushed out to the regional centers. The regional centers then sort them by regional center. They sort it by vendor number, and then they sort it by staff member name. They have to have that because without that, the regional center can't set up the invoice that indicates to that provider how many stipends the regional center needs to pay the provider so that the provider can essentially pay you. So the regional center gets that report every Monday. They need to sort, sift it, and enter the invoices. Those invoices then get generated. They get sent to your employer. your employer will look and say, yep, that's my staff member. And yep, they worked for me during the time period that they took that class. Yep, that's my staff member. She worked for me during the time that they took that class. Once they sign off on it, they send it back to the regional center, and the regional center brings that back as an invoice. Some of you may have been in the system long enough that we used to call those turnarounds, because we sent them out, somebody would validate it, we'd get it back, and we'd call it a turnaround because it kind of turned around to us. It's from that the regional center issues the payment to your employer. And then when your employer receives that, they will be able to issue the payment to you. So that's why in our guidance, we stipulated that, and what we shared with providers on the webinar was that, you know, keep an eye out for that. Make sure that you're doing it timely, that you're signing off on that in time. Because once you get that back to the regional center, once the regional center receives that back from your employer, that they should be paying that employer within 30 days. So it gives us kind of this 60-day window, right? To be able to get that information into a regional center, out to your employer, back to the regional center for them to issue a check back to you. So all in all, we really are trying to put the guidelines in place so that you get paid within that 90 days of completing the course. All of that should be invisible to you. It's not, this program isn't set up where it's like you have to turn in your certificates of completion so that your employer can send those to the regional center to get paid for. Your employer may want copies or ask for copies of those certificates, and that's perfectly fine too, but it's not necessary in order to be able to get you paid. And so that, again, that process should look invisible to you. We just want to make sure that you're getting paid within 90 days of completing the course. Any other questions, Amy?
Yes, I think you can get a bunch of them if you talk about how long each course is, when you can take it. There was some concerns about it only being available during work hours, which is not the case. And then if you can come back to it or not, which I think you touched on before, but if you could just kind of reiterate the how-to, that would be great.
Yeah, you bet. The courses are available at any time. So you can come back onto the system. If you're in the middle of a course, you can leave the course and come back in and start where you left off. You can access it on your phone. You can access it on a computer. We do ask that if you're going to do it during work time, that you actually check with your employer first and make sure that that is okay, since they're paying you for the time that you're spending to take the course. But you can come back at any time. You can take it on any platform. Google Chrome works the best. Other browsers do work. It's just Chrome works a little bit better from my understanding. What was the other one? I think I missed one you asked.
How long the trainings are?
Yes, how long? Sorry. They are just right about an hour for the video, including the survey questions at the end.
And then also a couple questions on if the trainings are available in Spanish.
Yes. Oh, that's a great question, and we should have pointed that out. So the videos are produced in English. They have English captioning, they have Spanish captioning, and they have ASL overlays on them. So yep, they're available in those multiple formats.
All right, and then we've got some folks asking how soon can we start doing these trainings?
That's a great question too. The platform is live. You're welcome to do it now. I will say this, and I say this every time we launch a new initiative, especially one that's this large in nature, is just be a little bit patient in the beginning. It will take some, this notice went public the same time the regional centers got it. So everybody got it at the same time. It will take a little bit for the regional centers to get in the rhythm and the groove of sorting that report, issuing the invoices, and getting them back and those kinds of things. Likewise, it may take a little bit of a groove for your employer to get into in signing off and validating those to send them back. So in the beginning, just be a little patient as we get it moving. But the platform's live. You're welcome to go on now if you wanted to and register to get started. Again, you'll need the vendor number and the regional center that your employer is affiliated with for that particular vendor number.
All right, and then we have a question specific to some service types here, a couple different questions. So the first is from a family home agency. They have paid respite staff for the family home providers that do relief and support. They are part-time and work a unique schedule per employee. Some of those staff work the average of 10 hours per week consistently. So would they be eligible for the
They
stipend?
will, yes, as long as they meet the eligibility criteria for the paid on average of 10 hours or more per week. They spend more than 50% of their time doing that direct support. And it sounds like it is through a regional center vendor, or if it was with a self-determination participant, they would be eligible to participate.
All right, and then we have a question, let's see, FMS providers. So FMS providers are asking for a little bit more clarification regarding self-determination, maybe a training specific to the FMS agencies, because they think that the regional center is providing the payments outside of FMS. So that's more of a suggestion than a question, I guess.
We have it. And for those FMSs that may be on the line today as well, we actually have this queued up as a topic for our FMS focus group. So thank you for letting me give you a shameless plug to attend the FMS focus group meeting.
And then we have some questions from supervisors that would like to know if they're able to take the training, not for the stipend, but to see what their DSPs are learning.
Absolutely. They are eligible to get onto the platform and take the training as well.
All right. And is in-home respite care eligible?
Yes, so long as it's funded by the regional center. And so long as that individual is working more than, some of you are going to say, she has said this 50 times, but as long as they're working and paid more than 10 hours on average per week, more than 50% of the time is doing those direct supports, and they're working for a regional center vendor provider or through a participant in self-determination, they would be eligible.
All right, and then we've got some people interested in the mechanics here. Can you take the 2 courses within the same day and get the stipend, both stipends all at once, or do you need to have time in between? How does that work?
You can take them however you want to take them. If you want to take them sequentially and you finish one course and then you decide to take the next course while you're still on the platform, that's perfectly fine. The system doesn't have, and the program doesn't have guidance that says you have to do one month and one another month. You take them as your schedule allows you to take them.
All right, sorry, we have a lot of different questions on a lot of different things. We are still getting some questions as to how many classes they can take. Could you maybe just talk about the CEUs that are available, how many CEUs and how many you get stipends for and how many you get CEUs for?
Sure. So the program again is a maximum of 2 stipends, right? So you can take more classes than 2, but it's only those first 2 that you would be issued a stipend payment for. So one $625 payment before taxes, another $625 payment before taxes for those 2 courses. You can take more courses, it's just they're not eligible for the stipends. We only are paying for the first 2 that you take. Now, each course that you take is about an hour long. And so CEUs, continuing education units, are based on the number of hours of teaching. So each course is also 1 unit for CEU. And you can get both. You can get the stipend for the course, and then also that certificate of completion qualifies as a CEU for any community care licensed requirement.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Just so some more questions about eligibility for administrative staff and the percentages of time frame. There's a lot of questions about the 50% number that you talked about, but then there's also questions about administrative functions versus direct support functions. If you could clarify a little.
Sure. Yeah. As long as someone is spending more than 50% of their time, 50% or more of their time doing those direct support tasks. So for instance, you could have somebody in administrative support and maybe let's just use the easy thing, right? They work 40 hours a week. But let's say 20 hours or more of their time is actually spent doing direct support with individuals, helping them with life skills or supporting them in the tasks that they're doing. They would qualify because even though they may be in an admin position, I'm using air quotes here, in an administrative position, they're actually still providing direct support supports to that individual. And as such, they would qualify. So long as, again, they still, in that example, they do work more than the average of 10 hours a week. So they work a 40-hour week, but 20 hours or more is actually spent doing direct support. They would also be eligible for this stipend. If they, let's say, for instance, though, that out of that 40-hour week, they're only providing direct support at about 10 hours out of that. Well, that's not then meeting the 50% of the time that they're doing the direct support. And I just want to be mindful of time because I know we're bumping up against the edge. And I know that there's probably more questions in the queue. And I know that some of them also are very nuanced, right? It could be that you have a very specialized position and you're not sure. I do some direct support, I do this, but I'm not really sure. Please feel free. We will download all those questions out of the Q&A. We will add them to our FAQs. Give us a little while to sort through them and get them posted. On that page that's referenced in the PowerPoint and on that workforce initiatives page under this particular initiative, there's a bar that goes across for frequently asked questions, and we will just continuously be updating that. So the questions that we have on there today, maybe small compared to the questions we have on there tomorrow. We'll just keep adding to them as questions come in. The other thing is that the workforce development and training team that actually is the primary team that works on all of these initiatives is working on getting office hours, open office hours set up so that weekly we would have a space of time, whether it's an hour or 2 hours, multiple days or the same day, to be able to be there to answer questions that you may have as well. We're hoping to get that started no later than October. And once we get those set, we'll put them right there on our workforce initiatives page as well. Because like I said, the program's open through June 30th, just means the courses need to be completed by then. Sometime between now and then, another question may come up that you have and you need an answer to, and that it's really individualized question. And we want to be able to be there to be able to answer your questions like that as well. So I want to thank everybody. I know we're at time. I just want to say thank you so very much and reiterate from our director, just the thanks and gratitude and your professionalism and just really supporting our individuals to live in their full lives and to thrive in the community, and for everything that you have done and do and will do in the future. I hope that this is a really positive first step to try to help get some information, get some training to you, and just real recognition for all that hard work that you do. So again, thanks for carving out time in your day today. Please feel free to tell your colleagues about this. Give us a couple of days and we'll get this webinar posted up for you as well. So thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of your day.